I spent the last few days on vacation in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. It was a wonderful time away. Deacon Steve actually is there now. He's on vacation as well. I didn't want to miss a Sunday, so I scheduled it for the middle of the week and just bookended with sermons. My way back, though, was an inconvenience after an inconvenience. It wasn't a bad road trip. It was just irritating. First, the tire pressure light went on, so I had to stop and, it wasn't a flat tire. It was just, a low tire. And then there was construction and lane closures and people who wouldn't let me in because they don't know how to merge. And it was just inconvenience after inconvenience. And I have friends who pray for parking spaces and who travel with that St. Christopher medallion on their rearview mirror. And if Jesus can grant my friends parking spaces and safe travel, why was I being so inconvenienced? I mean, I'm not a superstitious sort, but I had trouble understanding where was God in all of this. And I was just in the inconveniences. It is very, very difficult to see God sometimes. Not only do we struggle with the inconveniences of modern life, with lane closures and flat tires and more, but we contend with the loss of loved ones. We contend with the loss of meaning and purpose in a world going so much faster than the rest of us. It isn't just on the highway that we lose sight of God. And so when Jesus comes with this reminder that I am the bread of life, I am with you, here and now and forever. I'm with the crowds. I want to see a sign. But God does not show God's self only in signs. God is through all, as the letter of Ephesians says, and in all. God is in even the inconveniences, ever present. God's heart breaking and rejoicing with us. God was with the Israelites in the wilderness. It says the glory of the Lord, or you could say the presence of the Lord, shows up in the desert, shows up in the wilderness as they wander. And the people complain. And God, in the wilderness, provides. Now, there are natural explanations for everything that happens here. There are certain insects that eat the sap of tamarisk trees, and they excrete a sweetener that is still used today. And that is the explanation, something for the manna. Migratory quails passing through are exhausted by the time they reach that particular wilderness, and they drop, and hunters are easily able to catch them. And so there's a natural explanation for everything that's going on, but the timing is a little off, a little weird, a little coincidental. That they would wander through the wilderness only at the time of, in this particular wilderness, at the time of year when this happens, is a little coincidental, even miraculous, if you're a materialist sort. Something happens in the wilderness and God provides, because God is with them. You'll notice in your bulletin that a few verses are missing. For some reason, the lectionary thinks that these are extraneous verses. But in those verses, God gives instruction that the quails and the manna won't happen every day. It will happen for 6 days. And on the 6th day, you'll get a double portion of quail and manna, which you're supposed to collect, because they have to be able to celebrate the Sabbath and not work on the Sabbath. So they'll get a double portion on the 6th day that they can collect and use for the Sabbath day, not having to work. And God is working for 6 days then and resting on the 7th. God marks the Sabbath too. See, God is not only this sign from above, this manna and quail and provision in the desert. God is celebrating the Sabbath with them. God strives and works with them for 6 days. And on the 7th rests. God is not only with them in signs from above, but is with them in the work, in the inconvenience, in the loss, in the suffering, and in the joy, and in the love. God is not only witnessed in a sign from above, coming down from heaven. God is recognized as a presence with us. When Jesus says, I am the bread of life, whoever comes to me will never be hungry. Whoever comes to me will never be thirsty. He's saying that if you are looking for a sign from above, I am that sign. And that sign now dwells among you and lives and suffers, dies and rises just as you will, just as you do. We keep looking for signs from heaven for another world. That other world is coming, and indeed it's already here. We keep looking for signs from above to release us from the inconvenience, from the pain, from the loss, from the suffering. And that's coming. Even in our wildernesses, God provides with signs from above. God is also in the car with us. God is also in the pew with us. God walks with us in our own inconvenient road trip that we call life. And God is here suffering with us. God is here rejoicing with us. God is with us always and forever.